What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It is the only sports podcast. That's right, the only sports podcast. I'm Will. Casino will be joining us in a couple minutes because he is going on a trip or something for the holiday season. And yeah, he's still in the car. He was supposed to be there at 2. Apparently, there was a wreck, so he will be here, I believe, at 2:30. But before he gets here, let's talk about what we're going to be talking about on this episode, which is just an insane week of football. Not only college football, but then we also had football that started Thursday, which, if you want to hear my thoughts on that game, go listen to the Friday show. That is actually our most listened to and watched episode we've ever done on this channel. And I think we've been doing it for 2-3 years at this point. And that show was our most popular by, a country mile. So thanks to everybody who checked it out. Thanks for the people who returned the comments, likes, everything like that. So that was pretty awesome. But we are here today to not talk about that Thursday game, to talk about the Saturday, Sunday night games. The Monday game we kind of already previewed. But as far as picks go, Casino and I was perfect on the college football games. I picked every single one of them. Casino picked against me in 2 of those games. And then in the NFL games, the only ones I got wrong were Rams, Seahawks, Lions, Steelers, and the Chiefs game. Other than that, perfect in that as well. So nailed it. This was, I feel like, an easy week to predict outside of, I think, the Jaguars Broncos game confused a lot of people, shocked a lot of people. I mean, that Steelers Lions game, the ending of that was one of the weirdest things you're ever going to see, outside of one of the weirdest 2-point conversions you're ever going to see with that Thursday night game. And then let's talk. Well, actually, I was going to say, the Raiders also almost beat the Texans. So now with the Jaguars ascending, the Texans kind of falling back. What do we think of that? But first, let's start with the Saturday games. We'll bring Casino in when he gets here. We'll have him talking about those. But I wanted to talk about the Saturday game because obviously I'm an Eagles fan, and the Eagles win in the first Saturday game. Again, why they put it at 2 p.m. instead of 1 p.m. or 5 p.m. and the other one at 8, I don't know. I mean, that probably would have been too late. But why this one wasn't at 1:30, why it was at 2, I don't know. But why did we have Saturday games at all this week? Again, I have no idea. The Eagles, however, win that Saturday game 29-18. If you watch the game, you know the score was 29-11 before the backups came in. Really, the only reason that the Commanders got that last touchdown was it was like a 50-plus yard pass interference on like the 1-yard line that was all over Kelly Ringo, fully explaining why Kelly Ringo is not a starting cornerback on this Eagles starting defense. Just awful coverage right there. But we're going to talk about what actually happened in the game. So Hurts was 22 for 30, 185, 73% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns. He got sacked twice, didn't turn the ball over, even though he did fumble the ball, but he recovered his own fumble. Passer rating of 111.1. Mariota got knocked out early in this game, and then it was Johnson who came in, and Johnson's NFL resume is like one of the craziest things you're ever going to see. I think he's played for over half the teams in this league, which is insane, but he's also been in the league for 13, 14 years. It's crazy. But I feel like the story coming out of this game is at the end of the game, the Eagles went for a 2-point conversion. Their coach said it was disrespectful. Why their coach thought that was the moment that he needed to comment on and not going for it on the 4th down call, and just punting it away, which again was weird. I don't get why these teams, when they're playing like these juggernaut teams in these meaningless games for them, I don't know why teams just don't just go for crazy shit, just don't do interesting or weird stuff. Like, you're fighting for literally nothing. Like, it's like pretty much auditions for most of the coaches and players who aren't going to be on this team next year. So just go for it on fourth down, do trick plays, do weird stuff. I don't know. But we got some comments here. Honey Bunnies, football, the Eagle. Then we also have Tyler Garul, 9416 saying hi. And Rabanero Peppers says, that's actually a good name. Rabanero Peppers says, you talking about the cheese grater hat worn by DJ Moore. We will get to that game in a minute. Right now, we're talking about Eagles Commanders and the brawl that ensued at the end of the game. I just think it's funny how the Commanders had like this one miracle season. And by miracle season, that's not hyperbole. It legitimately was, because much like how the Bears have been playing the past 2 years, like the Commanders were just winning all these one score games and just getting all these miraculous game finishes, somehow made it to the NFC Championship game. Again, that Lions Commanders game last year in the divisional round is one of those games where you watch it and just nothing makes sense. I mean, obviously you can go, oh, well, most of the defense on the Lions side of the ball was injured and that's how they were able to score and all that kind of stuff. But still, go watch even the highlights of that game. It's insane just how the monumental collapse by that Lions team and how just on fire that Commanders team was. And then obviously they get the most points dropped on them ever in an NFC Championship game by the Eagles. And for some reason, that one season wonder just gave Commanders this delusional take that all of a sudden they are now an elite unit and just going to be contenders for years to come. It's so, of all, obviously as a sports guy, do this sports podcast, I kind of just am always terminally online looking at like football opinions, different fan bases and all that kind of stuff. I think I can confidently say Commanders fans are the most delusional, least ball knowers of any of the football fan bases. And again, they're not even one of my most hated teams. Again, as an Eagles fan since 1999, I've never seen the Commanders be a legitimate threat in that division. So I've never viewed the Commanders with any kind of ire or hate in my heart or anything like that. So people being like, oh, well, you just hate them because they're in your division. Like, no, I've never thought about them in my division. Like the Giants were always the ones we always beat, we being the Eagles. Cowboys were always the ones we split with. And obviously they were bouncing back from division to division. Outside of those 2 years the Giants were good, but it is one of those weird things where now the Commanders fan base is like so high on their own supplies, so it's like elevating themselves on this pillar, and it's just like, guys, you had one good season, like the one good season that again came out of nowhere, and then your tiny quarterback, who everyone said was too tiny to play in the NFL and too skinny and all that kind of stuff, just got hit a lot. And now he's always injured because again, we've seen that with other Commanders / Redskin quarterbacks who are built that same way and then just get injured on injured. And again, I like Jaden Daniels, but this whole take where it's just like, well, we're in the big leagues. And it's like, you're not. To be in the big leagues, you have to minimum be good for 2 years, minimum. So for the Commanders to now all of a sudden be like, oh man, we're not going to get big brothered by the Eagles. It's like, you've been big brothered by the Eagles for going on 30 years. Like, what are we like 1 year? And again, the face of that is the guy last year in the NFC Championship game who was like, we took over Philadelphia and it was like a Hard Rock cafe or something like that. It could have been a Rainforest cafe for all I know. I don't know. But the thing with the Commanders is it's just, they're so annoying and aggressive to play against, and they talk so much shit and then they never back it up. And then they go into the next game being like, well, remember last time when we showed you guys? And it was just like, what did you got blown out by the most points ever in an NFC Championship game. That's what you showed. And then it's like, well, remember when Frankie Louvo just kept jumping over the line to try to stop the tush push. And like the first 2 times you're like, okay, that's kind of funny. Every time after that, you're like, okay, like, can we play the game? Like, just again, and people were like, this is what you should do. It's like, do what? You should just be annoying and just keep doing the same penalty over and over again. Rabanero Peppers says that's a spot on take on Commanders. LMFAO. Thank you so much. But now, in honor of him and his comment, let's move on to uh again, Eagles Bills. I think will prove a lot more about what this Eagles team is than 2 weeks where they blow out the Commanders and Raiders, two of the worst teams in the league. But I will say Raiders are surprisingly feisty, and then the Eagles completely shut them down and just had a damn near perfect game. So I feel like, again, we maybe need put a little more weight on how just dominant they were in that game, especially when you see the Raiders, what they did with the Texans. But let's talk about the Green Bay Bears game. One of the craziest games you're ever going to see. And Rabanero Peppers comes back, says, "Are the Bears for real? I put $100 on them preseason to win Super Bowl at plus 3,500." Well, I'll tell you what, as a person, my mother-in-law is a Bears fan. The second after this game ended, she called me and was like freaking out and was like, "Could you believe that? Could you believe that?" And I legitimately said, "No, I cannot believe the game I just watched," because the game. So are the Bears for real? Yeah, they have to be. You have to look at the Bears now and say they are for real. Again, I still think, biases aside, but obviously still some bias, I still think the Eagles are maybe the class of the NFC this year, just in terms of who they've beaten and everybody being like, oh, well, they've lost a step, they're falling back, and they've played literally the hardest schedule. And one of the only good teams they've lost to this year is the Bears. And again, in that Bears team, the Eagles were kind of dominating them, and they went into halftime down 3. So I was like, oh, the Eagles have dominated the first half. They're just going to come out the second half and roll them. And then Ben Johnson just said, oh, no, you're not. I just am going to do all these running concepts that you've never seen before, and we're just going to run the ball down your throat. And then they did, and no other team in the league has been able to do that to, especially this Eagles defense, who might be a top 5 defense in the league. So Ben Johnson is as special in my eyes as everyone thought he would be at the start of the season, or even when he was with the Bears, and everybody thought he was kind of the master of that offense and why the Lions were good. I mean, he leaves, Lions offense kind of gets weird. Again, we'll talk about that Lions game, how they just decided Jahmyr Gibbs didn't exist, which again, I feel like his involvement in that game sways that game up by a huge margin. But Ben Johnson then goes to the Bears and says, yeah, we don't need Caleb Williams to be great. We just need him to make 2 or 3 big time throws a game, be careful with the ball, stop getting sacked so much, and then we're just going to run the ball down your throat. And that simple, theory with a lot of obviously different threads to it has just propelled this Bears team to where now they are the number 2 seed in the NFC, could easily finish in the NFC as the number 1 seed. And it's deservedly so. Because I mean, when you look at what happened in this game, I mean, the Packers, for the most part, were just dominating it for, I don't even want to say 3 quarters. It was damn near 4 quarters. The Packers dominated this game for 3.5 quarters, 3 3/4 of a quarter. And then all of a sudden the Bears, and especially Caleb Williams, just turns into the number 1 pick, what everybody wanted him to be, and just makes 2 of the best throws you're ever going to see. Again, the Caleb Williams take that I have been steadfast on for months now, that just keeps reaping the benefits of that early take, is he makes some of the best. If you put the season's best, like 25 throws, I guarantee you could make a case he would have like 10 of them on that list. But then you watch the games and then you see him try, like he short arms or short hops, like the dump off passes and the passes that you feel like every quarterback, especially a quarterback of his caliber, should make. He short hops them, he overthrows them, he just misses guys wide open. But then when you need him to make these incredible late season or late game throws to win the game, or tight window throws, he is like 90% completion percentage on those throws. I don't understand it. I've never seen a quarterback who makes the most difficult throws you've ever seen, and then the quarterback who just misses wildly on the wide open easy ones, the dump off passes, the short slants, all that kind of stuff. It's insane to me. And Rabanero Peppers says, I think it's a communication issues on routes a lot of time. The Iceman cometh. I don't honestly, that could be it. It could just be a thing where he's not, again, because the thing you've always heard about the Ben Johnson offensive concepts are they're really complex, right? So it does, I feel like, take a lot of brain power to run that kind of offense, and a lot of certain quarterbacks just frankly aren't going to be able to run them. And Caleb Williams, again, he runs it, I don't want to say to perfection. He runs it kind of where he gets half of it, feels like he gets half of it, which is why his completion percentage, even in this game, 55% completion percentage. And again, we're going to have revisionist history about this game. I thought he was outplayed for almost the entire game by Malik Willis. I mean, Malik Willis comes in after Jordan Love gets knocked out. He goes 9 for 11, 121 yards, 82% completion percentage, 1 touchdown, gets no interceptions, no turnovers, finishes the game a quarterback rating of 143. So he was slinging it. That one pass down the deep left side field, that was a perfect pass. And again, there's been times where you can make the case that Jordan Love is really spotty, and Malik Willis just kind of looks like he just flourishes in this offense. I don't know if I would, if I'm a team like the Browns or, another team that if they don't know if they have a quarterback or not. I mean, Browns, who knows what's going to go on with Aaron Shador Sanders. But if you're a team in need of a quarterback, I don't think I'd be selling the farm to get Malik Willis in there. But if you're the Packers, I feel like you can be very confident when he comes in as your backup quarterback, which I feel like he comes in a lot. I feel like I see a lot of Malik Willis every season, even if it's only for, a couple of drives, but he does look damn good when he's in there. And for Caleb Williams, he looked the opposite of damn good for, again, almost 4 full quarters. And then the last, 3 minutes of the fourth quarter after they get that onside kick, he throws one of the best passes you're ever going to see in the corner of the end zone to some undrafted rookie running back. And then the Packers, I think they fumbled it or just turned the ball over when they were going for it. No, they were going for it on 4th down in overtime, which again, weird. But I didn't like that call at all. Especially because, again, up until that point, Caleb Williams had done one throw that was good pretty much the entire game. So at that point, your defense is shutting the Bears offense down. It held the running backs. It held Swift to 58 yards, held Monange to 50 yards. Like, you weren't being beaten by the Bears offense. So it's weird to me that in that situation, the Packers in overtime we have to go for the touchdown. Like, why? The game at that point was 16 to 16, or no, it was 13-13. So it was one of those things like, why are you trying to go for the touchdown when the touchdown doesn't end the game? Then the Bears still get a shot at it. So that just felt like and now again, this is hindsight 2020, because who knows if they go for the field goal, if that second amazing throw by Caleb Williams even happens, where he does basically a streak Hail Mary down the seam, and guy DJ Moore beats the guy and just catches just a perfect pass. Again, perfect pass. What is it? Ribeiro Peppers says, with Johnson, they're supposed to sit or take edge. He's perfect pass by Williams are always at the top of the receivers. A lot of those short passes are too far pass for the rookies, which I think are missing the dynamic route reader, not just the same. Yeah, I would agree. But yeah, as far as this game, again, great game, but again, it wasn't a great game. It was a really slow, really kind of methodical defensive game until 3 minutes left, really, until that onside kick got recovered by the Bears, which always, it ups the entertainment factor in games when somebody gets an onside kick, because it happens so rarely. Again, I hate you have to declare an onside kick. And again, we do it we, as in the NFL, does it under the guise of player safety. It's so funny how nothing else is for player safety except when it comes to exciting plays. It's like, well, we need to change the kickoff rule because for safety. We need to change the onside kick rule for safety. And then it's like, okay, but everybody's telling you Thursday night games and other games on shortened weeks aren't good. And then it's like, yeah, but that doesn't matter. And it's like, I thought we care. You think a game, a couple plays a game are more dangerous than a full game? It makes, again, but that's an argument we've been doing for 1,000 years on this podcast. But yeah, as far as the questions coming out of this game, are the Bears legit? 100%. The Bears are 100% legit, and the Packers, I think, again, they lose all those guys on defense, still have a good defensive game, but now Jordan Love is hurt. I'm sure he'll be back. It didn't look like a season-ending injury, or maybe I'm talking to my ass and it was, but I don't think, let's see, it looks like it's a concussion. So, but again, they have to play these last couple games because if we look at and I'll put this up on the screen right now. If we look at the playoff picture right now, and I'll put this on the screen. So if we look at the playoff picture in the AFC, the only two teams that have officially clinched a playoff spot are the Broncos and the Patriots. The Broncos are the number 1 seed. Patriots currently are the number 2 seed. And then in the hunt, really, the AFC has been set, especially if the Colts lose tonight, which most people think they will lose tonight to the 49ers, except for me, and I picked the Colts in an upset. But most of the seeds, especially if the Colts lose, are set in the AFC. All the seeds are pretty much set in the NFC. Now there is still a chance, again, with Jordan Love out. If they lose the next two, Lions lose the next two, I believe, or Lions win the next two, I believe that would be the 7% chance. But obviously, they're not picking the Packers to lose the last two, so that's where they're currently at 93. So do you really need Jordan Love to play the last two games? I would say no, because again, I think Malik Willis is really good when he comes in. And I think, I just think when you're looking at if you're the Packers, what you want to do, the Packers, again, I think with all the injuries, with not having a true number 1 wide receiver, with being in these big games all year and kind of losing them to, division rivals, I just think if you're the Packers, you want to give yourself the best shot in the playoffs, and losing or winning these last two games, again, if you want to do the analytics and be like, we need to win these last two to keep the Lions out. Other than that, I just think you go with Malik Willis, let Jordan Love rest up for 2 weeks, and then kind of come out in the wild card round. But I just think, as an Eagles fan, the team I want to play the most right now in the playoffs would be the Packers. And so however they get in here, that's what I want to see. But now, last thing with here, he says, Rabanero Pepper says, I'll watch you again in future. I slammed the sub. Got to have dinner with the family. Well, have a great dinner. He said, thanks for the takes. Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for the comments. If you have comments on any of the games or want to talk about anything specifically, put it on the comment thread. This is the first time we're also doing live on Instagram. So I don't know how well that's going to go. Never done it before, but go on Instagram, leave a comment. The Only Sports Podcast over there. Go on Rumble, go on YouTube, and I'll read all your comments when they pop up. Even if they're inappropriate. Sometimes the inappropriate ones make me laugh the most. But yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the rest of these playoff pictures. So obviously the most interesting, or outside of the AFC, I think the most interesting thing in the AFC, I think everything's pretty much set in the AFC outside of seeding. Obviously, the Colts are the wild card. Ravens are now kind of the wild card as well. But since I think they lost yesterday, yeah, that number shot up to 92% for the Steelers. Before that game, I believe the Ravens were it was like a 50-50 almost, pretty much based on that game. So with the Ravens losing and the Steelers winning that game against the Lions, that division's pretty much wrapped up, and they'll pretty much be stuck at 4 because 1, 2, and 3 are so good. But with the top 3 teams, the most interesting team in this mix, we know Broncos are good, we know Patriots are good. Jaguars are the most slept on team in the entire league, and they just beat the number 1 seed in the AFC, and didn't just beat them, but kind of handily beat them, where now you really have to ask the question, are the Jaguars suddenly the best team in the NFL? If not the NFL, are the Jaguars suddenly the best team in the AFC? Because with the Patriots, you have the question marks of, this is new head coach. They've had the easiest schedule in the league with Broncos. Oh, here's Casino. Not yet, but Casino will be joining us in a couple minutes. But with the Patriots, you have all the question marks with their schedule. With the Broncos, you've had all the question marks all season about Bo Nix and this offense and all that kind of stuff. And then with the Jaguars, you go, well, we've seen Trevor Lawrence be good before. We just haven't. The question mark with Trevor Lawrence isn't, is he good? It's, can he be good again? So now with just an offensive-minded head coach, this opportunistic Bears-esque defense where they're now, I believe, second in the league in turnover differential, only behind the Bears, like, can this Jaguars team that we just saw thoroughly shut down the Broncos offense, are they the sleeper pick to now be the best team in the AFC? And then Chargers also with that Broncos loss and big win against Dallas. Now they have 2 weeks where they could potentially win the AFC West and jump up to that 1 or 2 spot. And then Bills are again right there with the Patriots as well. And then Texans with that loss are kind of stuck at the bottom. But pretty much, what is it? Going into this weekend, a lot of the questions were answered, which was the question, especially for the AFC, was who's going to win the North? Well, now it's going to be Steelers, like 92% sure it's going to be Steelers, according to the playoff probability. Now it's are the Texans the team everybody's scared of? Well, they just almost lost to the Raiders that again last week got blown out 31-0 and had the second lowest points or the second lowest yards in a game in NFL history. So it's one of those things where it's, as we are just inching closer and closer to the playoffs, I feel like a lot of questions are being answered while more are being raised. In the NFC, I mean, we thought the NFC North was good last year, and then all of a sudden the NFC West comes this year and are carrying probably 2 of the best teams in the entire league in both the Seahawks and the Rams. And then when those 2 have played each other, it's been final minutes, 1-score game, and you could make the case that even though the Rams lost on Thursday night, they're still the best team in the league. You could make the case that the Seahawks just beat the Rams in OT, so now they're the best team in the league. You could make the case that the Bears are the best team in the league after beating the Packers twice and then beating the Eagles, and just what we've seen from their number 1 defense in terms of turnover differential, and they have the most turnovers in the league on defense. But again, by every other metric but turnovers and turnover differential, that Bears defense is awful. Like bad. That Bears defense is bad. So how far can that team really carry you in the playoffs when, again, you're going to play offensive juggernauts like the Seahawks, like the Eagles, like the Rams, like the 49ers. And again, it's hard. Everybody always says it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a season. Not if you just own that team. Like, again, the Packers thoroughly outplayed them and still they somehow won that game. And then again, NFC North is the one, or NFC South, I'm sorry, is the one where Bucs still have a 60% chance to win that division. Despite the Panthers winning yesterday, they're only at 42%. So playoffs, again, good. I still, as an Eagles fan, I look at the Eagles finally figuring it out. I mean, there was a route tree yesterday that got released for AJ Brown. Oh, I shed a single tear at the beauty I saw on screen. So as an Eagles fan, I'm still rolling with the Eagles, but Bears are legit. Seahawks are legit. Rams are maybe the best team in the NFL, in my opinion. 49ers are sneaky interesting, sneaky good. And then NFC South, again, I'd be much more scared of the Panthers if they got in. If the final two playoff spots are Bucks and Panthers, or Bucks and Packers, I feel like those are the two teams everybody wants to play. And here we go. Here's Casino. What's going on, Casino? And he is.
And I'm here. Yeah, welcome. How do I sound? How do I sound?
You sound great. I've only so far talked about the Saturday games and then went over the playoff picture because I wanted to save the rest of the games for you. So just thoughts on, obviously, the Eagles-Commanders game. There's nothing really to talk about. But as far as the Bears...
Quick, how's the audio? Is there a bit of an echo? Because I'm in a pub shed.
No, you're good.
Okay.
But... yeah, as far as Commanders, Eagles, nothing to really talk about there except for that brawl at the end. But when it comes to Bears, Packers, thoughts on how that game ended?
That was
great.
So as I've talked about, I had my coworker is a Bears fan, and luckily, we got with our GM and we're just like, hey, it's been slow. I can come in. I was like, I can come in an hour early. We don't need him. And we did what we could. We got him so he didn't have to be at work. I'm so happy he was not at work, stressed out. He was at home watching that game. Oh, am I there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So sorry, everybody. Yeah, just a little late here. There was a car. I was driving to California. So if anybody's driven from California to Vegas or Vegas to California, you have to go through the thing that's called like the Cajon Pass. There was a car on fire. I didn't get to see it on fire, but it was burnt to a crisp and tons of firefighters stopping it from going up the hill because it started to burn up the hill. Anyway, so, little flustered. All right. But that game was great. The fact that, that Thursday night game, I know you've already talked about that on Friday, instant classic, that there was a 1.3% chance for the Seahawks to come back and win that game. You were like, okay, there's nothing going to be better than that game.
Yeah,
by God.
That game was, in my opinion, it was better. The Bears game had a better ending, but that whole Seahawks Rams game was better.
No, I totally agree, and that's not me trying to get my extra point. We're good. I get it. Because I picked the Broncos Packers as the best game, but
no, you didn't. You picked. Oh, yes, you did. You picked Bears Packers. Yeah,
but it was so good. And so. First off, I was very impressed with their kicker. Obviously, those wins were nasty. The Windy City, yes, but man, they were rolling. What I was most impressed about was just the poise that the Bears had and that fight, and kind of what the Patriots have, and like all these teams, the Jaguars have it. That why not us kind of situation? Like we're gonna play till the end of the game. We're not gonna give up. And when they were getting ready to do that onside kick, my coworker was like, there's no way they get this. There's no way they get this. I'm like, it's windy. This can go any which way. Like there's a high bounce with that wind. There's a possibility here. I didn't expect that. That was in his hands. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. You should have got that.
Yeah. And then again, if the take we've had at the beginning of the season was, what is it, that Caleb Williams makes, like, if you put a highlight reel of just his best catches in the season, you'd be like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then he just misses like the most easiest throws in the world, or the most easily seeming throws in the world. That throw at the end to send it to OT or whatever, dude, especially like not only was it a perfect throw,
and the walk-off, dude.
That's what I'm saying. Two of the best throws you're ever going to see in a game where, again, he was like a 50% completion percentage.
Colin said it. Colin and J-Mac said it best, that it was he makes the easy throws hard, or he makes the easy stuff hard and the hard stuff look easy. Like, it is very true. I love though when he threw that through the game winner. How he didn't even react. He already was just like, no, that's in. Like, that's a touchdown.
Yeah.
And I like his celebration. He was not freaking out. He was just like, yep, got that. Like, that was it. That was it. I really like just he didn't freak out. He just knew that he could do that throw and he got it done. Yeah, that was wild. That was great. And that was by far in the last 40, maybe 50 years, the most 40 years, the most important play in Bears history. Like that was great.
Yeah, especially for regular season outside of like the Super Bowl in 2005 and the 1985 Super Bowl. Like, what is more important than those two Bears games? Again, like in terms of regular season, especially where the Bears are now, what is it, much closer to just being the number one overall seed. They need like two things to happen for them to just have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. We had Rabanero Peppers earlier in the chat just asking if the Bears are legit. Like, how could you say they're not? Like, you have to basically say the Bears are legit now because there's no legitimate real argument you can make of why they wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Like, why would
By the way,
like
it looks like I'm having a little bit of connectivity issues currently. We'll see how this goes.
And then I did say shout out Malik Willis because when he came in, he finished the game with 143 quarterback rating. So stepping in like that, he had that great throw down the left hand side to come into that type of game on the road, division on the line. Basically, I thought he delivered. I thought he looked as good as Caleb Williams did. So, I mean, he did look better until obviously the last 3 minutes of the game. But let's move on to the other games because we're finally moving on to the Sunday games. No bigger game on Sunday than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers win 23-20. Thoughts on this one? Thoughts on the NFC South? Thoughts on even after the Panthers won this game, the Bucs are still favored to make the playoffs over them.
Well, yeah, they're favored. The only reason for that though is because they're playing in Tampa. Like that, I believe that's. I mean, well, that and the Panthers have to play the Seahawks, which I mean, you kind of mark up as an L. It should be an L for the Panthers, but
But then again, that's what everybody said against the Rams.
it's very true.
Who knows?
It's very true. But I mean, at least the Panthers have momentum. They know they can beat the Bucs, and they kind of handled that game. Like Tampa just did not look good. Baker had a couple good runs to get first downs, but the Panthers Young looked confident with those passes, which was
Oh no, did we lose Casino?
yeah, I might here. I'm gonna see if I can move a little closer to the house here.
Okay. What is it? But yeah, in that Panthers game, I agree with you where the Panthers look like they thoroughly kind of dominated that game. And also shout out Bryce Young for again how much grief we've given him over the years and how he was benched and then obviously came back at the end of the year. He played good enough where Panthers, at least front office and coaches, were like, this is our guy. Let's see if we can have this guy be the franchise quarterback. And in these big moments, in these big games, that's exactly what he proved he can be, because in this game, he was 21 for 32, 191, 2 touchdowns, 66% completion percentage, no turnovers, 103 quarterback rating. Meanwhile, Baker on the other side, 18 for 26, 145, 70% completion percentage, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, ended the game with a 80 quarterback rating. So again, Bryce Young, at no point during this season did anybody expect the Panthers or Bryce Young to be this good fighting for a playoff spot with 2 weeks left to go in the season. And then the Buccaneers, what is it, for 3 months? It was, are the Bucs the best team? Is Baker Mayfield the MVP? All that kind of stuff. So for the Panthers, I know it was at home, but still, for the Panthers to win that game with basically everyone picking the Bucs against them. And again, they're doing it with Bryce Young. Young. They're doing it with Rico Dowdle. They're doing it with their rookie wide receiver, Tedero McMillan. It's like on the other side, you have guys like, again, Baker Mayfield. You have Mike Evans. You have Godwin in the game. You have Ibuka. This is kind of the Chiefs situation where everybody thought the Chiefs would be better once they got all their pieces in. That didn't end up being the case. With the Bucks, everybody thought the Bucks would be better once they got all their pieces back. Now they have them back, and they're still losing these games, not being able to put up 3 touchdowns a game. So I don't know what's happened with the Bucks, but yeah, shout out to the Panthers, which the Panthers were the team that Casino and I both picked to win this game. So shout out to us that that is what happened, because Panthers win that game 23-20. But let's move on to the next one. Another game I think we should talk about, Casino, which is a game only with one playoff team, but it's interesting to see what happened, where it was the Buffalo Bills win 23-20 against the Cleveland Browns. The issues with the Bills, I guess, are starting to rear their ugly head in these games, which is Josh Allen did not have a good game. 12 of 19, 130 yards, 63% completion percentage, 7 yards per pass, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, only sacked twice, finished with a quarterback rating of 83. And the issues with the Bills rearing its ugly head, to me, is when Josh Allen isn't Superman, these are kind of the Bills games you get, which is where they're almost losing games to the Browns. It's honestly kind of shocking to me that they have a guy like James Cook, who is, again, in this game, he's basically the single reason they won it. 16 attempts, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns, average almost 8 yards a carry against that vaunted Browns defense, against Myles Garrett, who almost broke the sack record in this if he just had his hand on Josh Allen like a minute before his teammate did. And then I don't know if they would have given him a half sack or a full sack. A half sack would have tied it. Obviously, he's one sack behind the record. With 2 weeks to go, it's going to be insane if he legitimately doesn't get it, with how ahead he felt like he was a month ago. And then all of a sudden 4 or 5 games have passed and he doesn't seem to be on the same pace he was at the beginning. But still, Shedeur Sanders, 20 for 29, 157 yards, 70% completion percentage, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. I feel like when it's rookie quarterbacks, we've said this on the show before, you want to look at completion percentage, because completion percentage is the thing that I feel like you can't teach somebody how to be more accurate. You can just teach them how to do better throws. So if he's already a rookie, his coach hates him. We've made that clear on this podcast. I was against that conspiracy theory until that one game where, 4th down play at the goal line for the 2-point conversion, and he's not talking to him at all, and gives him the wrong wristband, all that kind of stuff. So Shedeur Sanders, coach who hates him, going against the Bills. Casino's back.
Yeah.
And yeah, so thoughts on the Bills in this game, Casino, with the Browns, almost losing to the Browns. And is this the case for the Bills where if Josh Allen isn't Superman, are they just going to be dead in the water when it comes playoff time?
I don't know if dead in the water. I mean, Cook is still playing really good, but you still need Josh Allen to facilitate. I mean, look what happened when Josh got hurt, right? Because he definitely didn't, he was not feeling good after he rolled his ankle, whatever happened there. And that second half, they could not move the football, even with Cook. Like all that production went down. So, I mean, we'll see what happens in these next few games, but that was definitely a sign for concern. But with this is a real, oh gosh, I think I lost it.
No, I'm here. Oh no, we're losing Casino.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, because now I'm like right outside the house. So anyway, but were you able to hear what I said though?
No, repeat it,
Gotcha.
please.
Yeah, no. So Josh Allen being injured in this game, definitely you saw that in the second half. Even with Cook, they were having trouble moving the football. So that does bring signs for concern. However, this has to be the year. right? This has to be the
Yeah.
year that you get it done because you know Lamar. I mean, I know they're not eliminated yet, but with the Patriots beating them last night, they need a lot of help, right? So with that, and then you don't have the Chiefs in, there's the real opportunity, real chance for the Bills. Great. I know you already talked about that game. Jacksonville looks good. So yeah, man, this is going to be tough for him to move forward.
Yeah. And it also becomes one of those things where when you look at the games that Josh Allen has been bad in, Cook's been good in them. So when there's going to be a game, there has to be a game just logically, and it's going to probably most likely happen in the playoffs. Maybe it could happen next week against the Eagles, where what if Josh Allen can't get going? What if James Cook can't get going? And then it becomes a thing where what even are the Bills if Josh Allen isn't Superman and James Cook isn't rushing for over 100 yards? Because when James Cook doesn't rush for over 100 yards, they need Josh Allen to be Superman or they lose. If Josh Allen just has an average game and they can't get James Cook going, we've seen this Bills team lose games with those being the parameters. Like, it just is one of those things where I don't know. Again, there's no reason why this shouldn't be the Bills' year. They're not going to have to worry about Lamar Jackson. They're not going to have to worry about Joe Burrow. They're not going to have to worry about who's been their kryptonite, Patrick Mahomes. So if you're telling me that Josh Allen can't win a Super Bowl when the opposing quarterbacks are Trevor Lawrence, Bo Nix, CJ Stroud, like, to me, that's a bigger question where it goes, well, then is he ever going to win one? Because when will it be easier? Like, you think there's going to be another year in the near future where just coincidentally Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow all miss the playoffs again? Like, it's not going to, I don't think it's going to happen. So,
I mean, honestly, it could happen again. I mean, look at the Chiefs, right? They're going to be losing Travis Kelce. I know they got good coaching, but and Patrick Mahomes will be coming off of injury, right? So they'll have to figure that out. Then you also have everybody kind of wants Harbaugh out, right? Not a lot of people are super stoked to have him in Baltimore right now. Lamar has just digressed. Lamar is almost 30. Like, this is just not, it's not working well for him right now. And then Joe Burrow, until they get that Cincinnati organization figured out, I mean, what can you do, right? So they might all miss the playoffs again.
yeah. Well, also, I think there needs to be a real, what is it? I do think there needs to be a thing where the Bengals, the Ravens, especially, let's talk about, I saved it for you, Casino. Let's, since we're talking about Lamar, let's talk about the Patriots Ravens game. The Patriots win 28-24. Lamar gets knocked out of the game on a replay they kept showing, and I kept just being like, where's the injury? What took him out of this game?
So apparently it's a back injury. He got like kneed in the back. And
yeah, our internet on Casino side's a little cooked at the moment, but yeah, so they kept saying that it was a back injury with Lamar Jackson. When the replay showed, it looked like he kind of got like kneed in the ribs or something like that. So it's not like he was having a bad game. He was having a decent game. He was 7 for 10, 101 yards, 70% completion percentage. They were moving the ball. Derrick Henry had 18 attempts, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was slicing and dicing that Patriots defense. And then all of a sudden, John Harbaugh and the Ravens just said, hey, our starting quarterback's out. Our running back's doing really well. Let's just stop handing him the ball. Let's just go the final almost entirety of the fourth quarter and not give Derrick Henry one more carry, because I believe I saw something and it was very patently obvious when you're watching the game. The last like 8-9 minutes of real time in this game, they didn't give Derrick Henry the ball once. Again, up until that point, he had 18 attempts, 128 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So why are you not giving your best running back, your best player on your team that's having his best game, maybe all season at this point. The ball, I don't know, you only gave it to him 18 times and he rushed for 7 yards a carry. Why are you not giving him the ball 30 times? Your all-star quarterback, your MVP quarterback is down. You're, again, at home, you're controlling this entire game. Drake May, we talk about, Josh Allen having to be Superman. Drake May basically had to be Superman to win them this game. He had that great throw at the end. Thank God the Patriots ended up scoring on that one play, because one of the worst calls you're ever going to see is where he was just tackled at the 5-yard line and it wasn't called pass interference. That's one of the worst Casino's back. That's one of the worst calls you're ever going to see.
The no call?
A guy is the no call. I was saying, thank God the Patriots got a touchdown on that drive, because even the announcers were like, that's the literal textbook definition of pass interference. Like, he was tackling the guy down to the ground before the ball was even in frame when they were showing that replay. Like, it's just, God, I don't understand how that's, again, one of those calls where they didn't call that pass interference. But outside of that, Casino, with the Patriots doing the comeback win in a game that by all accounts they should have lost. I mean, because even when Huntley came in, it's not like he was bad. He was
no, he played well. He is a Pro Bowl quarterback.
Yeah, not only did you beat an MVP quarterback last night, you beat a Pro Bowl quarterback. So that's 2-1. That's impressive. But yeah, can you explain to me, as you're watching the game, you're a Patriots fan, you're terrified that Derrick Henry is destroying your defense, and then the Ravens just decide to stop giving the ball to Derrick Henry. I don't understand that mindset. I don't understand
I don't know why they didn't. I don't know why they pulled him with like 12 and a half minutes to go. It just didn't make sense. He had 2 touchdowns on us.
It's going to be one of those shows.
Yeah,
it's going to be one of those shows.
I don't want to ruin the show for you, so I don't know, but
yeah,
I might have to exit.
Yeah, maybe try one more time. I mean, we've been going an hour anyways, so show's almost over. What is it? We'll try to figure out internet by next show, but yeah, maybe try one more time and then come back in. But there we go. So let's just blow through these past couple of games. We talked enough about that one. Houston, LA, or Las Vegas was just weird. Maybe the weirdest. Maybe we're going to start doing a category on here where we did pick this to be blowout of the game or blowout of the week, worst game of the week, and it was neither of them. It might have been worst game of the week if you were a Texans fan watching this game thinking it was going to be a blowout of the week, because instead what it was CJ Stroud. Again, if you're a Texans fan, you have this potentially the best defense in the league, especially after the Broncos defense gets a little exposed by the Jaguars. You should be coming out of this game with the Jaguars beating the Broncos the way that they did. You should be coming out of this game as a Texans fan being like, oh, we have the best defense in the league. Like, we shut the Raiders down. They just got blanked 31-0 last week. We beat them worse than that. Our offense is back, all that kind of stuff. Now I feel like you have to be questioning, is CJ Stroud better than Davis Mills? Like, again, I feel like that's a real question that all Texans fans just go, and Casino's back.
Yeah, so I'm just going to do it like this. How does this sound?
Oh, it sounds awful, but at least we can hear you and it's not, it's not bugging out. Yeah, there you go.
If it works for you and it works for the sound, let's just do it.
Yeah, there you go. So, Casino, my question to you is, if you're Texans fans looking at that, oh God, it's so windy, looking at that Texans Raiders game, do you have the utmost confidence that right now CJ Stroud is better than, Davis Mills?
No, I don't. I would take Mills right now.
Well, especially when, again, CJ Stroud's playing the Raiders, and it feels like for most of that game, the Texans can't even move the ball. Like
that's my biggest issue. I mean,
they can't complete a pass.
Your defense is doing what they're supposed to do, right? They're stopping them. I mean, it's not that hard to do against the against the Raiders, but I mean, there's no offense. I know a lot of teams are like, oh, if the Texans get in, I'm scared of their defense. I'm scared. I'm not personally as a Patriot fan. Patriots can put up points against any defense, but I'm not scared of their offense at all. They can't do anything.
Yeah. And Honey Bunny says Casino sounds like a 2002 Xbox Live chat.
That is exactly what I'm wearing. I got that same. This is what I use when I play Xbox back in the day when I didn't have kids. This is great.
Yeah. Let's just hope you sound like one, but you don't talk like one, because then we probably get knocked off live. Just the slurs, Casino, the slurs. But not. I'm saying you did it on Xbox, but people we know did.
That is the understatement of the year.
But as far as the Texans, yeah, I feel like a week ago everybody was saying I don't want to see the Texans in the playoffs. Now I feel like if you're a team in the AFC, you're saying, oh, we definitely want to play. Now I feel like the second seed in the AFC, especially with the Broncos losing, might actually be the way to go. That sounds exactly the same.
Oh, damn it.
But
I try to fix it to the wired headset instead of all right.
So as a Patriots fan, you're currently sitting at the second seed. The first round of the playoffs, you would be playing the Texans right now. After what we saw against the Raiders, would you rather have the number 1 seed, or would you rather have the second seed and have the Texans at home in the first round?
Obviously, I'd want the number 1 seed with how banged up the Patriots just got. I mean, they lost another 8 players last night. Travion Henderson, he got out with a concussion. We had just players banged up left and right, knee issues, head issues, foot issues. It's not looking good. They need help, and there's still no sign of Milton Williams coming back, even though he is now past his IR. He's past the 4 games, especially with the bye week, and there's still no sign of him. So the Patriots need that. So here's the thing. If the Patriots can somehow, they got the Jets next. That should be a gimme, even with their banged up team, because they're well coached and those third stringers showed up, towards the end of the game. And Kyle Williams, he played well coming in as that undrafted rookie. So I'm sorry, my dog's going crazy. This has been fun. So yeah, if the Chargers end up beating the Broncos in that last week, which I really think could happen, and the Patriots win out, and they have 2 easy games, right? They have a Tua-less Dolphins for their last game. They got the Jets next, who seem like they're tanking. I kind of wrote off when the Patriots lost to the Bills last week, getting that number 1 overall seed, but it is on the table again. It's on the table, and they need it, I honestly think, more than any other team out there, maybe outside of the Chargers.
Yeah. Well, also we were doing the playoff pictures before you got here. There's also a real chance that the Broncos in 2 weeks slip from the number 1 seed down to the number 5 seed, because there's now a chance that the Chargers could win that division.
Yeah. And I really do think that the Chargers can beat the Broncos. I like Bo Nix. I like what he's been doing, but I am 100% going to I really do think the Chargers, somehow the Chargers are this team should not have the record they have with the complete depletion of that O-line. Like, there's no way they should have the record they have, but they do, and that makes them scary. That makes them dangerous, because now they know that they're well coached. They can do whatever they want.
Well, yeah, and then the only thing stopping that is the Chargers' last 2 games of the season are against that Texans team we talked about, and then obviously they finish against each other. But the Broncos on Christmas night have the Chiefs team that's going to be starting their 3rd string quarterback, who had never completed or done a pass in the NFL before yesterday's game. Only reason why he was in the game was because Gardner Minshew tore his ACL in the one game he was starting this season. So Chiefs, again, as a Chiefs fan, you have to feel good that not only are you out of the playoffs, you lost Patrick Mahomes to an ACL, but you basically are single-handedly going to hand the Broncos the number one seed in the AFC by putting out your third string quarterback on a primetime Christmas game that everybody's been like, oh man, Netflix or Amazon's got to be kicking themselves for paying millions of dollars for these Christmas games. It's like, yeah, good that these major companies.
There's really only one that has any significance, and that's the Lions game. But that's that is a far cry for them to make the playoffs now at this point. So, yeah, it's not looking good. It is not looking good for those Christmas games. And yeah, I'm really happy that I don't have to focus. I can actually focus on the family and not, worry about getting yelled at by my wife because I'm watching football. I mean, I will still be watching football, but not as much. I can walk away without having any issues.
Yeah, as it sits right now, the 3 Christmas games, and I don't believe they can flex these because they've been promoting the hell out of them. It is the 6-8-1 Cowboys at the 4-11 Commanders. That's going to be Commanders with their, I think, also third string quarterback, maybe. Lions 8-7 against Vikings 7-8. Where basically the Lions, because they lost to the Steelers, are out. And then the Thursday night game is again the 12-3 Broncos at the 6-9 Chiefs, who will also be starting their third string quarterback. So 2 of those games will have third string quarterbacks starting. So yeah, again, great job Netflix, great job Amazon. But the Saturday game, and we'll talk about these on Wednesdays, there are some good marquee matchups this week. I think there's 4 really good games that could be games of the year this coming week. So as far as this week, Casino, any other games we want to talk about? I feel like the last one we have to really talk about is the Jacksonville-Denver game, because I've still not talked about that one. Every other one we've talked about, or really I don't think has any like playoff chances, anything like that. So
no, let's talk about that Jacksonville-Denver game. I think the team that I would be scared most about right now are the Jaguars going into the postseason for the AFC. I mean, they look like a complete team. Trevor Lawrence is not turning over the ball as much as he used to. Let's just rephrase that to that. Just not as much as he used to. And what I like is he just needed a different coach in there, right? He just needed somebody else in there that knew what they were doing, and it's helped him so much. It's made him shine. And they polished him up a little bit because remember when Trevor Lawrence was coming out, he was the best thing since sliced bread, right? He was the guy
he was the best thing since Andrew Luck. Like that was the whole thing we kept being told. He's the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck. That's what it was. So yeah,
so I mean, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the Jaguars, and just kind of the small market team being a team that people are going to fear going into the postseason. And first round, it might be, what if it's Bills Jags? Like, who would you take in that?
If it was Bills Jags, I'd take the Jags
all day. I just can't trust what's going on with Josh Allen right now.
No, I can't. Especially, again, the Jaguars, it's not that their offense or defense is great. Well, their offense might be great because there's that crazy stat where they've scored now 25 plus points in 12 games this season, which is, I think, an NFL record, or, if it's not an NFL record, they're sharing that record with some of the best teams in not only the past couple of years, but maybe NFL history. And then their defense has vastly improved. Or now they're 10th in the league in total defense, one of the best teams in turnover differential. So unlike how we've always said the Jags and the Bears are like the NFC, AFC equivalents of each other, the main difference being the Bears defense is not good, but it's opportunistic. Like, they have a bottom tier defense in most defensive stats. The Jags are not only an opportunistic defense, they also have a top 10 defense in most defensive stats. So not only do they get a lot of turnovers and don't turn over the balls themselves, they also just play really good defense. And their offense, again, is scoring the most points per game and averaging the most points per game than any other team in the NFL. So when you look at what this Jaguars team is, I think, again, the question marks with the Texans were, is CJ Stroud even good? Is their offense even good? Those question marks with the Jaguars just aren't there. They have a top 10 defense. They have a top 10 offense. Like, if you're in the AFC, which your team is, how are the Jags clearly not the scariest team in the league?
They are the scariest team in the league. I mean, when they blew out the Chargers, right? When they blew out the Chargers, and then they go in and they take care of the Broncos at home, dude, they're taking down the best teams right now. They're taking the best teams down in the conference, and they're making it look easy. They're making it look real easy.
They're not even just taking them down. They're like annihilating them. They're taking them down and annihilating the best teams in the league. So if you look at what Trevor Lawrence did yesterday, he had 115 quarterback rating, 23 for 36, 279 yards, 64% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And that's after being sacked 5 times. And then on the Broncos side, Bo Nix, 28 for 47, 352, 60% completion percentage, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 1 sack with an 81% quarterback rating. Again, Bo Nix wasn't bad. He just was not what we've seen from him, especially in that I believe the Broncos run an 11-game winning streak. So I think if you're a Broncos fan, silver lining is I don't think any team wants to go into the playoffs where it's like, oh, we haven't lost a game in 4 months. Like, we're on this unbelievable winning streak, because I feel like those are the teams that...
I'm glad you said that, because I had mentioned to you, I believe to you, but I know I've mentioned it to other people as well, that before going into the Bills game, I was like, I would be okay with them losing, either to the Bills or the Ravens. Obviously, you don't want them to lose. If they lost to the Bills, they can't lose to either one of the last 2 games, right, against either the Jets or the Dolphins, so they can win the division. But I was okay with the loss. And losing to the Bills, I'd rather much have beaten the Bills, lose to the Ravens, but they need that. It helps them figure it out. And what happened with the Bills, right? The Patriots just totally muffed that fourth quarter, right? They just blew it. And then what do they do the following week? They flip the script, and they're the ones who come with the late comeback victory in the fourth quarter. And I think that was a huge thing for them to have that loss the way they did against the Bills, and then show up in Baltimore on the road warriors. They're undefeated on the road, and do what they did and come back in the fourth quarter. That just shows that I really think losing that Bills game helped them out.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's also one of those things where people gave us a lot of shit on our TikTok where we said yesterday's game was a must win for the Steelers. And then everybody was like, no, it isn't. All they need to do is beat the Ravens in the last game of the season. And it's like, yeah, but would you feel confident if you're going into the playoffs on like a 1-3 skid where all you had to do was beat a Ravens team that, again, had already beat you earlier in the season, and then what is it? You'd lost to every good team on your schedule for the last 3 months. And then you would be going into the last week of the season being like, well, we just have to beat this bad Ravens team. And all of a sudden we win the division and we're in the playoffs. Like, must win doesn't mean win this game and you're done. Like, must win means win this game to have some semblance of confidence when you're all of a sudden going into the playoffs as an underdog. Because again, we can talk about Broncos, we can talk about Steelers, but I feel like the NFL and the playoff picture being this open this year means anybody can win it. So you go into that's why I asked the question, would you rather have the number 1 or number 2 seed? Because again, I feel like momentum's a real thing. And with the Broncos, I feel like don't want to have that pressure where all of a sudden you've won 12, 13, 14 games, and then you're going to play after a week of resting. You're going to play a Jaguars team where it's like, oh yeah, but we've won 14 in a row. We have home field advantage. We got a week off. Like, now let's try to beat this Jaguars team, right?
Right. I mean, that's always kind of been the question is, do you want the momentum, or do you want to, rest up and take the time? Like in hockey, it's like, do you want to get the sweep, or, do you want to play the 6 games, not always 7, but 6 games, and then just go right into the next series all fired up? I don't know. Like, with how wide open it is, I may have taken that. I may have wanted to just roll with it if they weren't as beat up as they are. I'm talking about my Patriots. Broncos, on the other hand, they're not that dinged up. I mean, I know that one player was a scary play. He got hospitalized, went off on the cart and everything. That was nasty and not good. But yeah, for the Broncos, you might not want to have the number 1 overall, so you might just want to go, but going into Mile High, that is a very tough place to play, right?
Mr. Hugo's back. He says the scary things about the Jags is they haven't done anything with their run game since the Chargers game. If they get the run game back on track, they'll definitely be the best team in the AFC.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I totally agree. And if you don't need it right now, don't use it. But have people game plan for your passing game, and then once they figure that out, guess what? You got a tool in your back pocket that you can open up and just release and just let them go crazy. So, yeah, I totally agree. So at this point, yes, I would like for my team to have the bye just because they are so banged up. But a team like, with a young quarterback, like Bo Nix with the Broncos, why not? You just got that loss, and you might just want to get right into it.
Yeah. Well, and as far as the Jaguars rush offense goes, they're still averaging 121 yards per game, 18 rushing touchdowns. They're 16th in the league in rushing offense. Obviously, their passing offense is it's actually worse. So the Jaguars passing offense is worse than their rushing offense. Jaguars are 18th in the league, averaging 215 passing yards and 23 touchdowns. So saying they haven't got their run game going, their run game is actually better ranked than their passing offense. Again, I think when it's the Jaguars offense, it's not like it's electric. It just is efficient and doesn't turn the ball over. Their defense is legit. They have a top 10 defense, but they get turnovers. So much like the Bears, you look at the stats across the board and you go, they're not great at anything besides not turning the ball over. And we always see that every year where I bet you could go back for 10 years and be like, teams that get a lot of turnovers and don't turn the ball over are always good teams. Because again, it's efficient, you're not making mistakes, and it just becomes one of those things where there's many ways to win in this league, and just being efficient with never throwing or turning the ball over, never throwing interceptions or fumbling makes you a good team.
Right. But what also makes you a good team, and both the Bears and the Patriots, and even held the Seahawks did, all 3 of those games, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday night games where these teams came back and they were turnover, like they had turnovers, right? And what I liked about the fight between these teams to come back after losing those turnovers, I thought was very impressive. And that just shows the grit. So when for instance, like when the Patriots last night, they lost Trayvon Henderson to the concussion, and where am I getting at with this? Sorry. I had a train of thought. It's been a long day. Yep, I'll have to circle around to that. Sorry, guys.
But no, it's one of those.
I got it. Yeah. So when he went out, I was like, okay, this Drake May has not had a single game over 300 yards in his career passing. I was like, as soon as he went out, I was like, this is the game where if he doesn't hit over 300 yards passing, at least 300 yards, they will not win this game. He goes for 380. They win the game. They needed that. And there's so many good teams. There is so many good teams. And I really do think it comes down to which teams just fight to the end. The Jags are one of those teams. The Patriots are one of those teams. I worry about the Broncos a bit, but you have seen that they have done that, especially with that fourth quarter comeback that they had at that midseason. Oh my gosh, who did they play again? It was the Jets, right? Yeah, when they came back and beat the Jets. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited for these playoffs. I'm really excited for these playoffs, man, because it just seems wide open, especially over in the AFC. The NFC, you're pretty much expecting it to be you're either San Fran, which, by the way, let's jump into that game. But like the Rams, Seahawks, San Fran, Eagles. But let's jump into that game. I want to talk about that because if the Niners tonight end up winning out, if they win out, yes, they have to play some really tough games. They have the Seahawks. They have the Seahawks. They have the. Do they have the Rams as well?
No, it's the Panthers, right? It's Panthers, or no, it's Bears. Bears, 49ers, and Seahawks 49ers. So,
yep. And so if they win out, they will get the number 1 overall seed, which is just wild. I mean, we talked about it a few weeks back where all these teams are so close. And you just talked about the Broncos, where they can go from being the number 1 seed overall right now to being the 5 if they lose to the Chargers at the last game. It's just, there's not been a better NFL season in the last 20 years plus, in my opinion, just because it's wide open and you can feel like 8 teams can legitimately win the Super Bowl. Yes, it should probably be the Rams to win the Super Bowl. It's theirs to lose. But after that, it's a crapshoot.
Well, we thought it was confusing or crazy after 3 weeks. After 2 weeks, now with the Seahawks beating the Rams, like you said, there is a possibility that the 49ers could jump from the 6 seed to the 1 seed. There's a possibility the Seahawks could fall from the 1 seed to the 6 seed. There's a possibility the Rams could fall or could go from the 5th seed to the 1 seed. There's also possibility still in the final 2 weeks where Eagles could get 1 seed, Bears could get 1 seed, Rams could get 1 seed. Literally the only team currently in the playoffs on the NFC side that could not get the number 1 seed is whoever wins the NFC South. There is a legit scenario where every other team in the NFC playoffs could be either the 1, 2, 3, 5th, or 6th seed. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. What is it? Mr. Hugo's back. He says, winner of NFC South and AFC North have no chance to win it at all. Every other team has a legitimate chance to win it. I completely agree. You're on mute.
100%. Sorry, I forgot that I got to do this thing too.
I would also say, I feel like if we're going to cross off like legit playoff contenders, I think in the NFC, I think I would do Packers and whoever wins the NFC South. Packers only because they're so banged up. I don't think they can hang on for 3 games. Like, I just don't see a scenario where all of a sudden the Packers just turn on fire and win 3 games in a row and they're in the Super Bowl. In the AFC, I mean, really, I don't think you can write the Texans off. I think you can write the Steelers off. And then every other team, I really feel like has as good a shot as any. Like, would anybody be shocked if all of a sudden the Bills turned it on and they're the best team in the AFC? I feel like no. I feel like if you just say, oh, the Broncos lost, so they can just rebound from that, turn it on. They're in the, Super Bowl. Same with the Patriots, same with the Chargers, same with the Jaguars. Maybe Texans are kind of like the Packers, where Texans might be the one where you would say, I don't trust their offense enough to win 3 games to get them to the Super Bowl. But outside of that, if you had to, risk your life on betting on one of the teams in the AFC or NFC, I don't think you would feel confident picking really anybody. Like, no way. Because again, also, you don't even know what their seeding is going to be with 2 weeks to go. So, yeah, people saying, oh, I bet on this team, I bet on this team. Like, you have as good a shot as anybody. I don't know. I don't know. Super Bowl bubble casino will reveal the new one on Friday. You could literally put every playoff team in that Super Bowl bubble. And
I wanted to talk to you about that off air because legitimately that's the case, 100%. Yeah, anybody can win. I think the Rams should be smack dab in the middle. Again, it's theirs to lose. Maybe a bubble within a bubble. I don't know. But
actually, let me pull up because I did make a new bubble this Friday. So let me pull up the bubble and I'll see what you think of it, Casino. Because even after this weekend, I think I would have to make some, maybe not drastic changes, but some changes to it. It'll load right here real quick, but yeah, outside of that, any other games catching your eye that we need to talk about? I do think it's funny that the Cowboys got eliminated on Saturday, and then it was like, okay, well, we can still be spoiler to the Chargers, and then the Chargers just completely dominated them and blew the doors off. That was fun.
The one thing I will say about that game is I'm so impressed with Dak this year, and I honestly feel bad for Dak that he did not make the playoffs this year, and this is by far his best season he's ever had.
Yeah, it's almost like stats don't matter as much as people put the
he pulled a James Harden this year.
Yeah. Again, I think winning is a stat, and that's just a stat he just does not excel in. He just is not a winning quarterback, never really has been. But especially when it matters most. But now here's the Super Bowl bubble that I debuted on Friday, Casino. Again, the ones in the middle I have are Broncos, your Patriots, the Rams, the Bills, and the Seahawks. And then I have the Eagles, 49ers, Bears on the outside for the NFC, Texans, Jags, Chargers on the outside for the AFC. I feel like even after a weekend, I feel like maybe you can take the Texans out of there, maybe replace it with... But who would you even replace him with? Maybe
you couldn't replace that with any. I don't know, man. The one that needs to be now put into the bubble is you got to add the Jags. But I do like, I want to put your Eagles in there. But I mean this last game, that was the best game that Saquon has had in a long time. So, but they were playing a banged up Washington team, so you got to take that with a grain of salt, right? So. I mean, I like this, but you gotta put the Jags in there because we just said it. The Jags are probably the scariest team in the AFC right now.
Yeah. Do we?
I mean, you might. I mean, I know the Patriots are good, but I would probably take the Jags and replace the Patriots with the Jags right now in that Super Bowl bubble that you had right there. Just because the Patriots are so depleted and they're running on third stringers. It was funny. So Drake May was on when he was doing his press conference at the end at the podium. He, again, paraphrasing, he was talking about how every time he went to the huddle, it seemed like he had like a whole new group of faces in there, which I thought was hysterical. It's like, yeah, every time we went to the huddle, there was just a couple new faces and, just next man up,
yeah.
Which I thought was really funny.
No, that is funny. And yeah, I feel like honestly for this Super Bowl bubble, you can make the case the Jags should be in there. You can make the case the Eagles should be in there. Hell, you can make the case the Bears should be in there. Like if the Bears, their biggest win, I mean, I thought what happened to the Packers the last 2 weeks kind of disqualifies them, but maybe you put the Bears in the middle, maybe you put the Packers on the outside. Again, join us Friday for the solo show to get the newest edition of the Super Bowl bubble along with the power rankings, but it could be vastly different than what it was last week. Who knows? I think that's it, Casino. Thank you to everybody for standing by for our technical difficulties to start the show at the beginning. But yeah, we'll be back on Wednesday. Wednesday. What is that? Christmas Eve or Christmas?
Christmas Eve. And yeah, I should have a better setup on Christmas Eve. This was I literally pulled up, got the kids out of the vehicle, got the dogs in the backyard, and was like, okay. I'm taking my backpack. I am setting up. I am trying to figure this out on the fly.
Yeah. So
when I hopped on, it was less than 10 minutes from when I got here.
Damn. Well, thanks for joining us, Casino. Thanks everybody who commented, all the subscribers. Again, this has been our most popular month we've ever done in the 2-3 years we've been doing this show. The numbers on it are actually insane, legitimately insane. So thank you to everybody watching it, commenting, all that kind of stuff. And thanks for all the returning people, Mr. Hugo coming back this week, this episode. Yeah, so this has been crazy. Also, Friday's show, the most popular show we've ever done by every metric. So thanks everybody who checked that out.
Boo, just because it was a solo show, you think you're better than me.
I don't think I know.
That's fair.
But we'll be back on Wednesday to do our picks for the upcoming week 17. We're 2 weeks away from the playoffs. Again, as we just said, everything's going crazy. I'm Will. That's Casino over there. Anything to say to the people, Casino, before we get out of here?
I wish I was the fan that got punched by DK Metcalf because he gonna get paid.
Yeah. Which again, I don't understand how he even heard what that guy was saying. He had to walk so far over to that guy to punch him in the face.
Yeah. That's the only thing is I wish I was that fan. I wish I was that fan.
And also, somebody mentioned this at the beginning of the show, which I did not talk about, but I think we should talk about it before we get out of here. All the Bears players at a charity event wearing cheese grater hats. I'm here for it.
Hysterical. Yeah.
That's the trash talking I like. It's good. But this has been the Only Sports Podcast. I'm Will. That's Casino over there. We'll see you Wednesday. Adios.